a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results, and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. It's Andy Brownell, News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Good morning, Robin.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm doing pretty good, I guess.
Awesome.
You survived the 4th of July festivities?
I did, and then I spent the entire week getting caught up because I managed to take a couple of days off, and it felt amazing.
I bet.
And it felt amazing. I needed it. You know what? Even the best of us have to take a rest and recover, right? And I can go, and everybody always accuses me of being the Energizer Bunny, but I'll tell you what, it felt good to just kind of turn things down for a couple of days. It was nice.
But the funny thing is, your idea of turning things down a little bit is to host dozens of people and feed them.
Yeah. I mean, but it was a different kind of, it wasn't the hectic run here, run there. It was awesome. It was great. We had a blast.
That's great. So, you have some new statistics. We have the monthly report on the local real estate market.
We do.
That's always fun to talk about, yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Currently, we have 342 sales pending in the market overall, which means we still have, listen to this, 162 listings for sale. It's not a lot.
No, it's not.
It's not a lot. The resulting pending ratio is 67.9%. So what does that mean? That pending ratio indicates the supply and demand of the market, of course. So specifically, a high ratio means that listings are in demand. Well, when I tell you that there are only 162 listings for sale, it's pretty clear that there's a demand for listings.
Right. I've learned that's the number to track.
Yeah, I think last week we talked, and I think if I remember the stats right, the number was 4 million homes for sale nationwide on that date a year ago, and it was down to like 1.5 million. So yeah, it's crazy, the shortage of inventory. It's still out there. I actually had I won in a multiple offer situation this week, and the house was a beautiful home out in Buckthorn Drive, and there were several offers, and my buyers were really wanting that house, and they were really aggressive with a lot of things, with price, with terms. They did no inspection, but then again, if you saw the home, you would see that it was immaculate, and there was a long list of things that the sellers had done. So it was like, okay, this is a no-brainer, and we have to compete when we know we're one of 5 offers. It's like, all right, we've got to be as strong as we can, and they felt very comfortable with that. And then we did a very nice, substantial amount above ask price and a very hefty, non-refundable earnest money. I mean, the terms that it takes to win, it's crazy. But we won. We won.
You pulled every weapon in the arsenal out of it.
We pulled them all out, yes, because when there's only a few houses and everybody wants them, that's what it takes to get them. And when you find those kind of, crown jewels where they're just a few minutes outside of town, they've got their whole little small acreage, so it feels like they're a million miles away from everyone, but they're not. And yeah, it was perfect. And the tipping point for these buyers was this place had a phenomenal wood shop. And I mean, it was like big. It was all finished. It had wood paneling on the walls. It had big picture windows looking out to the woods, cable for the TV, everything. And I tell you, the Mr. Buyer in my buyers, is a woodworker, so that was like sealed the deal.
Well, yeah, what more could you ask for to have the shop already there?
They found their dream home, so yeah. I'm excited. I love when that happens.
Well, I think this is a good example why you want somebody like you, Robin, on your side when you're negotiating this sort of thing, because you can help them navigate this, which which one of these options should you deploy in this certain situation to win the bid.
And I will tell you, I was up against all RE/MAX agents. So I was up against some really good agents with, a lot of experience as well. So it's tricky. It's an art. There's no doubt about it.
So looking at the statistics, obviously very much a seller's market, as we already know.
Yeah.
That's not going
But still a buyer's market because the interest rates are still phenomenal.
Right.
So when you can get a house, even if you end up paying a high price for it over the course of your 30-year mortgage, you're going to still come out ahead because of the interest rates.
Everything you have to take into account when going through the process of trying to buy the home is important to consider. And the interest rate part, we've talked about that so many times, how much more bang for the buck you get because that rate is so low. Mm-hmm. So are we still seeing the majority of the sales in that $300,000 range?
Well, let's just keep looking at this. It says here, we noticed that the 200 to 300 price range has a relatively large number of contracts. We also noticed that the 200 to 300 price range has a relatively large number of properties for sale. 35 of our remaining 162 listings are priced between 200 and 300.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, that's that. To answer your question, absolutely the most of the homes are in that price range.
But that doesn't necessarily reflect what the median.
No, it doesn't, because the median list price for all the properties in the market is $406,950. Wow. Yeah. So prices have gone up, for sure. A total of 1,127 contracts have closed in the last 6 months. Some days I feel like I did 1,000 of them. I'm so tired. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, not complaining. With a median sold price of $285,100. So, breaking it down, we still notice that the 200 to 300 price range does contain the highest number of sold listings. So it is makes sense if we live in a market where our average home price is, falls in that range, that's where we would see the majority of the business.
Absolutely. And do the statistics reflect how quickly these homes are selling?
They're selling quick. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So we've got, let's see.
What is that statistic? Days on market, I think, is what we always refer to on that.
Yeah, let's see if we can find that one. Median days on market. Where is it? I'm not even... Okay, here we go.
Okay.
It says that our active listings have been on the market for a median time of 21 days, but our sold properties lasted 6 days on the market. 6 days on the market. So the ones that are on the market at 21 days probably are those sellers that thought, well, it's a crazy market. Let's go even a little higher than maybe the realtor is suggesting, or maybe it's a realtor that is saying, well, we can try it. It's not my style. I mean, I want to price it where I think it's going to sell, and maybe even where people are going to fight for it and drive the price up. But everybody has a little different theory as to the right way of pricing a house. But if they're still sitting there for 21 days, I mean, granted, we did have a little bit of a lull. We've talked about that for the past couple of weeks, where those first couple of weeks of June, people started hitting the road for summer vacation or getting the kid home from college or doing the high school graduation or whatever they had going on, right? And so now the 4th of July is behind us, and I expect things are going to pick right back up again.
And I imagine the days on market statistic has some of those way high-end homes that you really have a specialized buyer that you probably have to wait around a little bit more for those to sell.
Correct.
Or is that not the case?
Well, we are seeing that the high-end market is selling faster than it ever has. And again, that's going to be tied to the fact that the interest rates are so low that people can literally buy their dream home much sooner than they thought they could. I actually have a couple of clients that went from their starter home to their dream home this year, because it's like, well, if we're going to make the plunge, we might as well make the plunge. And if we're going for the $1 million house, we're not going to be fighting for it with 4 or 5 other people like we might be if we go for the $500,000 or $600,000 house. So, it's been a crazy year.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
That's the situation that the low interest rates really brings about.
Absolutely.
The idea that take advantage of this now, because if you do the intermediate home the next time around, odds are they're not going to be this low. That's for sure.
Correct. That's very true.
All right, we're talking with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Back in just a moment.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Only in the Ford.
Back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group-RE Results, of course, this morning talking the latest statistics, the monthly report on the Rochester real estate market. And we were talking about the higher end homes, and there's a quirky, I don't know if it's quirky, but maybe it's a very, maybe it highlights the current situation that these higher end homes are actually selling at a far faster pace than we, at least I would have ever thought possible.
Yeah, we have 3.5 months worth of absorption rate for homes 1,400,000 and above, which simply means that if no other listings come on the market in that price range, we'll be completely out of them in 3.5 months.
That used to be the number for the normal house, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The other one that has a lot of inventory is, well, a lot. Ha, ha, ha. But, compared to everything else, between 800 and 900, we got 3.8 months worth of inventory. But if you look at anything below 99,000, well, there's a week's worth. And anything below 100 and 200, there's a half a week's worth. Between 200 and 300, a half a month's worth, so 2 weeks worth. And on until 400 to 500, there's actually a month's worth. And 500 to 600, a couple months worth. So it's really crazy. Our inventory, but this is the one that floors me, just floors me. Between 1 million and $1.1 million, we have 2.4 months worth of inventory. There's actually quite a few houses out there between $1 million. I mean, it's not like it's because, there's only one and it'll sell. That's not the case. And it's just crazy to me to know that they will all be sold within the next couple of months.
That's what we used to think of as Southern California prices.
Yeah, not anymore.
Oh.
Prices are just going up, and more expensive homes. And people ask me why. And I think there's a lot of reasons. I think it's not as scary because people are seeing other people do it, for one. I think that I know that Rochester is full of people that come transplanted from other places, so they understand what the real estate market looks like on the East Coast or on the West Coast, and they understand what the prices are there and still say, whoa, I can get all this for $1 million. This is crazy.
Yeah, and you think as well, for that $1 million here, you're probably getting a sizable amount of
land,
which you don't get on either coast.
Exactly. So it is fun and refreshing as a realtor to see that people are more excited about spending more and investing more in real estate, because I think they've also become really enlightened to the fact that it's a great investment. It's an absolute great investment. What do I tell you every week?
Yes.
It's your bank account that you can live in.
And another factor, you can tell me if I'm reading this right or not, but in this community specifically, we have so many young people who are entering the workforce with graduate degrees.
Correct.
They're pulling in really nice incomes right out of school.
Absolutely. And good for them. My hat is off to them. And the thing is that I hear people say, oh my gosh, these 30-year-olds are making X number of dollars. I didn't make that. Well, good for them. The bottom line is maybe we didn't make that much when we were that age, but we also didn't pay what they have to pay for everything, right? So it's all relative.
Well, also, isn't the whole idea that where hopefully the next generation has a higher standard of living than we have?
Exactly. Nothing is better than watching our kids, excel and have more than what we had and do better than what we did. I think that's the American dream, honestly.
And they can have you over for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I look forward to that day when they're hosting the party.
Yes. And doing all the cooking. Yeah.
And doing all the cleanup. And the cleanup. No, they're great about helping. I cannot complain. Even my friends, last weekend we had the big bash, but everybody pitches in. And, it was so much fun because the weather, glad it was last weekend and not this weekend.
Well, I bet you were in the pool the whole time. It was so hot.
You got it. And it was a great place to be.
So does Wabasha do a fireworks show?
Yes, and it was really, really nice, actually. Great. Yeah, it was great.
The Rochester show, I wasn't there, but my son went to it. He said it was fantastic. So,
yeah.
And a nice crowd downtown, yeah.
The dogs are all happy it's over, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Aw. I felt so bad for the little guys at our house.
Yeah, they never get used to it either, do they?
I don't think so. I told my daughter, I said, maybe you could come up with some noise-canceling headphones for dogs. Like they put when you see little kids at concerts and places with them on.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Keeping it on.
Well, it's interesting with the dog. It's totally unrelated to what we're talking about, but I've seen hunting dogs that are used to a shotgun that can't stand fireworks. I could never figure that out.
Right. Yeah, that is weird.
Okay.
I tell you.
So what we're seeing is, from what I can gather, we're not really seeing a lessening of the inventory situation.
We are not. So if you are listening and you do have a house for sale and you're thinking, oh my gosh, did I miss that amazing window of opportunity? The answer is no, you did not miss anything. There are still buyers out there chomping at the bit to find the right house for them. And if you're sitting on it, you're going to make somebody very happy. So if you think that you missed the crazy spring/summer red hot market, you haven't. It's still great, still a great time to put your house on the market. And honestly, it takes a little more time and it's a little more challenging, but if you have the patience and you stick to your guns, it's still a great time to be a buyer.
All right. We're talking with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Max Results, and we will return in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
Adopt US Kids presents
Back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Max Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. Welcome back. We're talking Rochester real estate, the market. Robin, one thing you have been talking about quite a bit over the past month or two is that this is not a bubble market. That we're seeing sustained demand and what appears to be an issue with inventory that's probably going to be long-term. Have you seen any data out there in regards to projections, perhaps, for where home values are headed, seeing as we've seen such a ramp up in home prices over the past couple of years?
Absolutely. And I'm always looking for articles, as you know, and I'm always posting things on my Facebook page. And I did just this week post an article that was titled, A Look at Home Price Appreciation Through 2025. Okay?
Okay.
And it shows that with the recent gains, homeowners are clearly witnessing their financial stability and their well-being to record levels. I mean, it's just never been so good. and a survey of national panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment market strategists. So this isn't one person's opinion. Forecasts that home prices will continue to appreciate over the next 5 years, adding to the record amount of equity homeowners have already gained over the past year. So these are year-over-year rates of home price appreciation. So literally, they're showing it's still going to be really good. It's going to be 8.66% over the next year, and then over the next year, another 5.12%. This is their projection, okay, their best guess.
Okay.
All right, and then after that, the next year, almost 4%, and then after that, 3.7%, and then finally 3.5%. So it's not like things are going to stop increasing in value. And yes, just like I've been telling you, it can't continue to go at this, straight up the hill increase. Right. It has to at some point plateau off. But, for the next 5 years, if we're gaining 8.5%, 5%, 4%, 3.7%, 3.56%, those are still some really amazing returns on our investment.
Oh, my goodness. If you add that up over that period of time, that's an amazing amount of equity.
It is, and especially if you're locking in at these, 3.0 and under rates that are still out there, it's like, oh my gosh, it's such an amazing opportunity.
I talked to somebody last weekend, and what they were a young person who, 3 years ago bought their starter house. It was a very, very modest home, and their plan was to be there 5, 6, 7 years. And put the sweat equity into the house.
Sure.
And then finally have the equity to move up to the house that they were probably going to raise a family in. And this whole thing, he was recalling this to me, that he goes, because of the increase in equity due to home prices rising, they were able to come up with the down payment they needed for the next step, which is a very, very nice home, in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was,
yeah.
And I was way too nosy, and I asked how much it was, and it was well over $50,000.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
It is great. Well, I think I read an article in Realtor.com that said new listings in June were up 5.5% year over year.
Oh, really? Great.
Which is great. So, the houses are out there. So it's not like you can't get a house. It's just that you're not going to have a whole bunch to choose from, and you're not going to come in and say, how much can I get off the price? And there's not going to be the back and forth negotiating. That's just not the market we're in.
Right.
But don't get discouraged and don't feel like, I missed it. Everybody bought a house 4 years ago and they made all this money, and now I've missed it, because I just got done telling you, this isn't going to stop. The prices are going to continue to go up, and even though the rate that they go up at will plateau, they're still going up. So it's definitely awesome news.
And this is another place where it'd be really reassuring to have you on my side, that don't panic. Part of it, don't rush into this. As far as this particular home or situation, as you're out there looking for homes, you can be that person being the coach, as you would want to say.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are waiting, the forbearance moratorium is coming to an end, right? With the federally backed mortgages. I think it ends end of July, right? July 31st. And so everybody's like, we're going to have this big spike in foreclosures, but that is not at all what the analysts are saying. Okay, so yes, there are about 2.7 million homeowners that took advantage of not having to make their payments during that time, which makes them behind on their mortgage payments, and probably 1.8 million of them are seriously delinquent, like 90 days or more. But 77% of those homeowners that are in the forbearance program have a repayment plan in place, and those houses will not be foreclosed on.
Okay.
So we're not going to see a big spike in foreclosures. I get that question a lot, so I thought I'd touch on that real quick.
Yeah, so part of that plan was that the lender was working with the homeowner to
just add that amount on the back end of the loan.
Back end, or come up with
Correct.
a different way to get
Correct.
this thing back to where it needs to be.
Correct.
Excellent.
So it's not gonna be like this big crash and now all of a sudden everything's gonna change. We're just gonna keep on going. It's gonna remain a strong real estate market. It remains a perfect time to jump in and, start buying some investment homes as, maybe your children's college funds or whatever it is. Because if you buy a home and rent it for what your mortgage payment is, you're just gonna build that equity. So there's lots of different opportunities besides just buying to live in.
Okay. So if somebody wants to talk to you about these opportunities, how do they get a hold of Robin Gwaltney?
Well, let me start by saying I would absolutely be honored to help. And my cell phone number is 507-259-4926.
Excellent. Robin Gwaltney with the Gwaltney Group-RE Max Results. Thanks, Robin.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And we'll chat again next week here on News Talk 13.
Sounds great.
Okay, News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9.